Welcome to the context behind memes, where we dissect and digest memes. So, this meme starts with a bull, giving off huge vibes of a modern company's logo design process. A beautiful sketch of a bull goes into the pipeline, and in each iteration makes it more user-friendly for their quote-unquote target demographic, and out comes the most stripped-down symbol possible, a triangle with a line passing through it. Except this beating took 4,000 years. The logo they were redesigning was the letter A, and it shows probably the best group project in human history. Well, let's go to the beginning, meme. Meet the Egyptians, our pyramid builders along the Nile River, mummy makers, and creators of the world's most beautiful but ridiculously complicated writing system. These desert kingdom masters turned a river valley into the ancient world's longest-lasting civilization. Around 4,000 years ago, Egyptian scribes used this hieroglyph of a bull to represent power and strength. The symbol looked like an actual bull. Head, horns, body, legs. To write anything, you needed to memorize hundreds of these picture symbols. Want to write powerful king? You needed the bull symbol, the king symbol, maybe a few connecting symbols. It took years to learn, and only priests and scribes could do it. Very similar to the language doctors use on their prescription pads. But then something happened in the mines. Enter the Canaanites, the tough mountain and desert people who lived at the crossroads between Africa, Asia, and Europe. These farmers, shepherds, and miners were caught between Egyptian and Mesopotamian superpowers, but somehow survived by being adaptable. Around 1850 BCE, or 3,850 years ago, Canaanite workers, aka Sinaic in Egyptian turquoise mines, were stuck doing paperwork with this impossibly complex system. These weren't scholars, they were workers who needed to write delivered 50 pickaxes or need more rope without spending 4 years in hieroglyph school. So they did what workers do when the system doesn't work. They hacked it. They looked at that bull hieroglyph and realized something. In their language, the word for bull was aleph. What if instead of this symbol meaning bull the animal, it just represented the first sound of that word? The ah sound. Nothing else. Just the sound. Suddenly, you didn't need a different symbol for every object in the world. You needed symbols for sounds. About 20 sounds could write any word in any language. Genius. Absolute genius. They basically invented the ancient world's data compression. It's funny, the alphabet was born from workplace frustration. The early Sinaic script, around 1850 BCE, still looked pretty rough. You see, the writing system was still in its infancy, so rigid rules and grammar police hadn't been born yet. Because of that, the bullhead symbol could be written right side up, upside down, sideways, basically whatever fit your aesthetic. People were still figuring out this whole sounds instead of pictures concept. It worked, but barely. And Canaanites, back home, the same adaptable people. But now we're talking about their actual walled cities scattered across the hills and valleys of ancient Palestine and Lebanon, not people working in mines. These urban organizers and craftsmen took this brilliant chaos and turned it into something systematic. They standardized which way the symbols should face. They simplified the shapes so they were easier to carve or write quickly. That bullhead became more angular, more abstract. Less, this is a picture of a bull, and more, this is the symbol for this sound. We know this because of a 37-year-old ivory comb found in Israel. Carved into it is what might be the first complete sentence in alphabetic writing. May this tusk root out the lice of the hair and the beard. Even back then, people were complaining about everyday problems in writing. Now, instead of using combs, we use Twitter. Now meet the Phoenicians, the ancient world's ultimate entrepreneurs living along the Mediterranean coast in modern Lebanon. These master shipbuilders and fearless sailors turned the dangerous sea into their personal highway, creating the world's first global trade network. Around 1000 BCE, so like after 1,000 years we see a new iteration of the symbols, Phoenician merchants had a problem. They traded everywhere. Spain, Cyprus, North Africa, Greece. Every port spoke a different language. The Egyptian hieroglyph system? Useless for writing Phoenician.
Our future depended
You are wrong! All of you are wrong!
The Mesopotamian cuneiform only worked for a few specific languages. But this Canaanite alphabet, it could write anything, any language, with just 22 simple symbols. So the Phoenicians refined it for business. They made the symbols even simpler, faster to write. That angular bullhead became a clean triangular shape, easy to scratch onto pottery, carve into stone, or ink onto parchment. Perfect for trade records, contracts, and shipping manifests. More importantly, they carried it everywhere, not to spread culture, but because it made business easier. Every Phoenician colony, every trading post, every market where they sold their purple dye and cedar wood, the alphabet came with them.
It's free real estate.
Enter the Greeks, philosophers, mathematicians, and people who couldn't leave well enough alone, scattered across islands and coastal cities where mountains met the sea. These competitive city-state dwellers turned arguing into an art form and made everything a contest of ideas. When they encountered this Phoenician system around 800 BCE, they immediately sized genius. But they also saw a problem. The Phoenician alphabet was designed for Semitic languages, which could get by without writing vowels. You could write BT, and context told you whether it meant bat, bit, butt, or boat. Greek didn't work that way. Greek needed vowels written out clearly. So the Greeks made a revolutionary change. They took some Phoenician consonant symbols that Greek didn't need, like that aleph representing a glottal stop, and converted them into vowel sounds. That Phoenician aleph became Greek alpha, representing a clear ah sound. And they did something else. They rotated the symbol upright on its base. Suddenly, that angular shape started looking like our modern A. This wasn't just adaptation. This was the creation of the first complete alphabet. Every sound in the language clearly represented. No guesswork, no context needed. But here's where things get interesting in Italy. Meet the Etruscans, the sophisticated neighbors who lived in central Italy before Rome became Rome. These were the cool older kids on the Italian bloc. Master metalworkers, artists, and engineers who built amazing cities in what's now Tuscany. While early Romans were still figuring out basic city planning, Etruscans were creating advanced drainage systems and beautiful temples. Around 700 BCE, these Etruscans encountered Greek traders and saw their alphabet. Being the cultured people they were, they adopted it immediately. But they adapted it for their own Etruscan language, which was completely different from Greek. They kept that triangular A shape, but modified it slightly for their needs. Here's the cool part. The Romans were basically the Etruscans' little brothers. Early Rome was just another Italian city, and honestly, the Etruscans were way more advanced. Romans learned everything from them: engineering, religious practices, art techniques, and yes, the alphabet. Finally, meet the Romans, who started as those scrappy underdogs but became history's most successful middle managers. They took that single Italian city and turned it into rulers of everything from Britain to Iraq. These obsessive organizers, road builders, and legal system creators didn't invent much, but they perfected everything and made it work on a massive scale. When Romans learned the alphabet from their Etruscan neighbors around 700 BCE, they recognized something revolutionary. But in typical Roman fashion, they didn't just adopt it, they systematized it. The Roman alphabet kept the Greek innovations that came through the Etruscans, but standardized everything for administration. The same letter A had to look identical whether you were writing in Britain or Egypt or Spain. Roman efficiency applied to writing.
They also did what Romans did best. They conquered half the world and made everyone use their system. Roman roads carried Roman law, Roman engineering and Roman writing from Portugal to Persia. That's how our letter A spread everywhere. Look at what just happened. An Egyptian symbol that meant powerful bull became a Canaanite symbol that meant the sound ah. Phoenician traders simplified it for business. Greeks added the vowel innovation and rotated it upright. Etruscans adapted it for Italian languages. Romans standardized and distributed it across an empire. Each step solved a real problem. Each innovation made writing more accessible, more practical, more universal. That triangle with a line across it that you learned in kindergarten, it carries 4,000 years of human problem solving.